And it says, can you give some guidance on using freelancers, Upwork, Fiverr, 99 Designs? What site do you recommend? What are best practices? And which site do you use for what? Like video editing, SEO, copy?
Okay, gotcha. So Fiverr, Upwork, and 99 Designs all have their purpose for different things, and they all have different uses. So Upwork is more when you're going to have something more like an employee-employer type of relationship. What's cool about Upwork is that that's where I find all my virtual assistants. The true virtual assistant, where they're actually really kind of like part of my team, where I can just message them, I pay them an hourly rate, and they just do a lot of different work for me. So virtual assistants can be literally virtual assistants. It can be video editors. It can be graphic designers, depending if you want to do that. I'm trying to think what else we have for virtual assistants. I know we have a bunch. We have our server team is all managed through Upwork. And what's cool about Upwork is that it functions more like an actual employee-employer relationship. So it's actually billed by the hour, not by the project. You actually can bill by the project, but we use it as bill by the hour. So when you're hiring on Upwork, what you're going to do is you're going to hire for the people, not the gig, which is Fiverr, you're hiring for the gig rather than the people. Now, with Upwork, the way that I hire on Upwork is I have a very specific strategy of how I hire people. So people have used virtual assistants, and a lot of people have told me I used a virtual assistant and I didn't really get good results. And typically the reason that you don't get good results with a virtual assistant, there's two reasons. The first is that you don't provide good information to them. You don't provide them with really good instructions. The second is you can't communicate with them properly. And both of those things need to be addressed when you actually hire the virtual assistant, not as you're getting used to working with them. So the first thing I do in the hiring process is I make sure that I can communicate with them. And to do that, I ask custom questions in the job post. And the questions need to be questions that they cannot Google the answer to. So what I want to say is, what are your hobbies? Tell me about your family. Where did you grow up? Like what kind of music do you listen to? Or what, just ask them questions that are personal questions that they cannot Google the answer to. So by doing that, you can kind of get an assessment for how well they can communicate in English, because everyone it takes a self-assessed English, has a self-assessed English score. So basically what that means is they are basically saying how fluent they are, but they're not taking a test. So this is the way you actually figure it out. Now, once I actually do hire, I typically will hire like 3 or 4 people for the same job, and I'll give them a test. So if I'm trying to find a virtual assistant, what I'll do is I'll give them a job with sort of semi-vague instructions. So what I'll say is, I'll say like, okay, I need a list of all the estate planning attorneys in Dallas. I need their name, their address, their phone number. And I won't give them any more instruction other than that. I won't say put it in a Word document. I won't say organize it this way. I just want to see what they come back with, right? And it's cheap. It's like $3 or $4 an hour. You tell them, look, I'll pay you for this test. And this is a really good way to figure out who's actually going to go above and beyond and do a really great job. And what you end up with is you'll end up with probably, 1 or 2, maybe even 3 of them won't really do that great of a job, but one of them typically will. And then that's the one that you'll stick with. And what's cool about that is that you're giving them vague instructions. So when it comes down time to give them real instructions to do real work, then what you want to do is you want to make sure that you give very, very, very good instructions. What I like using is Loom or Screencast-O-Matic or ScreenFlow, something that allows you to record your screen where you can actually walk them through the process and show them step by step exactly how you want it done and what you expect the outcome to be. When you do that, when you give really good instructions to somebody that you can communicate really well with, then you get really, really good results. We've got several virtual assistants that we could not run our business without because they do such a good job. And so that's how I hire on Upwork. Fiverr is a little different. Fiverr is short-term gigs. And basically what it comes down to is, you say, I need a cover photo design for Facebook. And then you go on, you search Facebook cover photo, and there's a bunch of different ones. I typically will just look at the one with the most reviews. And then once again, you need to give them really good really good instructions. I'm the graphic designer's worst nightmare, because I'll look at something and I'll say, and I do this to Chase all the time, and I feel bad, but it's how it is. I'll say, I don't know what, I don't like it, but I don't know what to tell you to fix. You know, so like, so what usually works best is when I can give really good examples. So I'll say, hey, I like this, I don't like this, do this type of thing. And that's if you need to do that. If you need examples, you can obviously go to other pages. You can go to Pinterest is a really good place to find examples of graphic design and stuff like that. And then what was the third one? 99 Designs, was it? Yeah, so 99 Designs. So we actually don't use 99 Designs. We use a website called 48 Hours Logo. And it's kind of the same thing. And basically the difference between that is you're actually basically naming a gig. So what we do for our clients, the only place we do this is for law firm logos. When a client hires us to do their website, SEO, rebranding, all that type of stuff, what we do is go to 48 Hours Logo and we'll have a contest. And the reason that we do this is because what you do is you set the specifications for what you're looking for. So you say, I'm looking for a law firm for the Smith Law Firm. Here's their old logo. They want something that looks kind of similar, but they want it updated. They like the colors red and blue. And please do not use any cliches like, you know, columns or gavels or Lady Justice or anything like that, or Scales of Justice. What's the one with the girl's blind? I don't know what it's called. But in that scenario, you then have a lot of different graphic designers. I mean, we've gotten like almost 300 options in some contests. So you're getting a lot. So basically at that point, you're seeing the work before you actually finish it, or before you even pay for it. And then you pick a winner based on that. So that's the difference between those three different styles of freelance work, I guess. You know, and they each have their own purpose and they're all very different. Now we do have some people on Fiverr that we use over and over and over and over and over again, but we're always just paying them by the project. And on Upwork, we're paying, you know, by the hour typically. And what's cool about Upwork also is that you can, when they're logged in, you can see screenshots, you can see mouse activity, you can see computer activity. So there's no question if they're actually working. They're not like faking and just like running up the clock.